In a world where the ground feels shaky and memory is optional, two men will rise, armed with microphones, dry humor, and a suspicious number of pill bottles. They'll face tremors, stiffness, and the ultimate challenge, recording a podcast without forgetting what they were talking about. This is where Parkinson's gets real. This is Life in Motion, the Parkinsons podcast. Rated P for please take your meds first. Now, grab your earbuds, unless you forgot where you put them. Then just turn the volume up because today's episode is ready to go. Now, here are Bryce and Brian.
Well, good morning and welcome to the podcast. I am so excited to be here this morning and I hope you are as well. What is this podcast called? This is called Life in Motion with Brian and Bryce, but apparently Brian has left me stranded this weekend, so I am on my own, or maybe I'm not. But a good morning to everybody who's joining us today, whether you're listening or watching live on YouTube. I am excited you're here. If you're here, just say hi in the comments. Would love to know that you're here, where you're from. I am all about that. So, yeah, it's been a bit. So Brian's on vacation. So, luckily for you, and maybe more luckily for me, we have a special guest co-host. And I am going to bring them to the stage. And you know what? I'm going to say it like this. One thing I've never said to Brian before, ever, is, I've never said, Brian, you are so beautiful. But on this co-host, I just might actually do that. So I'm going to bring them up to the stage and welcome my wife, Carmen.
Hi. Hello. Hi, everybody.
How are you?
I'm good, honey. How are you?
I am fantastic. I'm glad that you're here, and thank you for doing this. And Brian's trouble, right? So last week, or last time we were last episode, he was having technical troubles, and he was on and off. And so I appreciate you stepping in here, and I appreciate your technology is working. And
that's thanks to you, not because of me. Trust me, it would be because I know what I'm doing. That's for sure.
Oh my gosh. Well, for everybody listening and watching. So this is my wife, Carmen. We've been married for just over a year, and we met, probably, I don't know how long ago was that now. I'm going to guess 10 years ago. We have a long, it's a cool story. It's a long, cool story, but we won't get into too much of that today. But what I thought would be really cool is, and a big hi to everybody in the comments. Everybody's saying hi, honey, Miss Lori and Dolores and Bonnie, live with Parkinsons. Everybody, all the people that like to do life today are here today. So welcome and thank you. So I thought today would be a really cool day, if you're good with it, is to kind of look at, what does Parkinson's look like through that, through the care partner's lens, and that's. Yeah, you're good with that? You're okay with that?
Absolutely, yeah, for sure.
I think it'd be a lot more fun for me if you don't take this the wrong way, but if you were Lori, like Brian's wife, because then I could ask crazy questions and kind of make fun of him a little bit. But so be nice.
I'll make fun of you instead. Then
I know that's what I'm saying. Be nice to me, please.
I will. Maybe.
But it's funny, and one of the things that we kind of touched on last episode, which I found quite interesting, is that we were talking about. So Brian's son-in-law had come on the program, and he was talking. We were talking about maybe are there things that Brian is going through that maybe Brian doesn't see, and then one of the Fakey questions was, is it possible that sometimes someone with Parkinson's, we don't really notice or we don't realize our decline, if that makes sense. So it got me thinking, right? So we with Parkinson's see Parkinson's through our eyes. And so I thought it'd be really cool to see, or to talk about Parkinson's through someone else's eyes.
Right. Yeah.
And you know what? You have gorgeous eyes, so I'm glad that it's you. Anyway,
thank you.
Thank you.
Make me blush.
And feel free if you have any questions for myself or Carmen. If you're live, throw them in the comments. We would love to answer any questions that you might have as well. But so thanks for filling for Brian, honey.
Of course,
and
I'm excited. Actually, I hope that this is as entertaining for everybody as me watching you and Brian is for me. So I hope that we can entertain your viewers.
Well, you know what? I mean, we didn't set out to be funny, or to be humorous, but Brian just sometimes makes it too easy. So with his here's a retired CEO, CIO, or whatever, information IT guy has struggles. So it's awesome. So anyway, Brian, if you're watching or watching, hope you're having a great vacay, and say hi to Lori as well. But anyway, so let's kick this off, Carmen, if you're good to go. Again,
Absolutely.
what is Parkinson's like through a care partner's lens? And it's sort of like this. What surprised you the most when you started learning, really what Parkinson's was?
Yeah, that's a good question. Honestly,
I asked really good questions. Thank you. I
you
need to.
do, you
Thank you.
do.
Yeah.
It's funny because you really don't know what to expect unless you're, familiar with it or had it in your family, which I didn't. You don't know, right? You just know. I think it's probably the standard answer everybody gives is, Michael J. Fox has it, and and that because that was the most prominent one, and then you start thinking those are the symptoms, that's what you're going to live with. But I think for me, what was most surprising was the invisible symptoms with you, because it's not that you don't like have the tremors and you're not doing the dyskinesia, right? So it's not it's almost a hidden disability for you still right now. So it's all those hidden symptoms, the difficulty you have in the morning, um that and then when I hug you, I can feel, when I give you big hugs, I can feel those internal tremors, like your whole body vibrates, but
Ah,
it's not something that people can visibly see, right? So I think that's what caught me by surprise the most.
yeah, it's interesting, and that's where I was answering, and I felt we went on a little vacay and wasn't feeling that well, but um, I'm way behind in answering comments, so I was trying to catch up a little bit yesterday, and I'll catch up some more. So hang in with me, and I again get those questions about I've watched other podcasts and you don't look like you have Parkinson's and stuff. And and I think that's true. So that's internal things you don't say, but the other part to that too, is like you just said in the mornings, people realize that, when I'm going on camera, I'm really vain, I'm very vain and I want to look my best and be my best. So I time my meds around the show so that when I'm on, I'm really on, like I'm at my best spot. But that's the thing. It's, Parkinson's isn't just tremors. It isn't just stiffness. It is all these invisible things. And you know what? And no 2 days look the same, which I don't know, from a care partner's perspective, that could also be difficult, I'm assuming, right?
Well, it's not difficult, but it's sort of I don't know the Bryce I'm going to get that day, I guess is the best way to describe it. And
That
that's
sounds
okay.
kind of fun. That sounds kind of fun.
It is kind of
Almost
fun.
like,
I get a new husband every day, right? Sometimes. So
yeah.
it really I find that the biggest thing that is impactful to you is how much rest you've gotten or not gotten. So if you haven't slept in a couple of nights, or you have, it's a discernible difference, right? So you're more, your brain fog is better or you don't have it when you've rested, right? When you've had a couple of good nights sleep. So um, that is probably the most discernible difference that I notice. And lack of rest for you is a big one.
Interesting. Well, I'm going to
Mhm.
learn a lot of stuff today, I guess, huh?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I just about ripped my headphones right off my ear. That was awesome. Um, so you and I were talking
Yeah.
yesterday a little bit about this, and so I want to run through some of the reactions or questions that you've heard or have had yourself as a care partner, and I think people can relate to this. And some of these questions were: how do I know when to help, and when to back off? Is it okay to laugh when things go sideways? How do I handle the emotional roller coaster? And why does it sometimes feel like I'm on a different planet than my partner? And those are some of the really big questions, right? And they're so real. And the thing is, we feel that way too from the other side. So I think that's pretty. I think that's pretty interesting. So why don't we just tackle? Can we tackle one of those right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think my biggest struggle is knowing when to jump in and not to.
Okay.
Laughing, I'm gonna laugh at you regardless. And I think we laugh at, I think laughing at the struggle not because you have Parkinson's, but just the humor in the situations that might happen, I think is healthy. I think it, alleviates the tension. And because you tend to take yourself very seriously when it comes to your Parkinson's, and again, you said it, you're vain, and I get that. But I think when we can laugh at some of the things, I think that sort of alleviates the pressure on you to feel that everything has to be perfect all the time. But so I think the laughter is really important. But yeah, knowing when I should jump in or not jump in. I struggle with that, and I think I always will, because I do want you to have your independence.
Yeah.
And I do want you to, figure it out and get it done. And then part of that is me and just wanting to get it done faster. So I know I move faster and I get up faster than you do. That's one of the things. I'll say, I'll do it. It's just I can get there before you. And then after the fact, it's like, oh shit, maybe I should just let him do it. So sorry, I swore. I
Did you
apologize.
just swear on the podcast?
I did. I'm so sorry.
I'm just teasing.
Sorry.
I am so teasing. I swear. It's all good. This is real. This is, we'd like to just keep it, and well, you watch, we just keep it real, right?
Yeah.
Whatever it goes. I think that's the thing for people with Parkinson's. I think it's, let's be honest. There's some days I'd love to be babied, and I appreciate me do everything, but 9 times out of 10, it's one of those things where I think that's where communication comes in so strongly, and I think that. I think that's one of the things that we do very well, and that's why I think even I appear and seem to be doing very well, is that we communicate we talk about everything, and I think it comes right down to the same thing where I think there's certain things I want to try at least once, give it a shot, roll with it, see what happens. Hopefully, I can do it. But I think that's that communication thing, and I've noticed a few times where you've said something like, "Are you good, or do you need me to help?" Right? And I'm like, "No, I'm good, but I'll let you know, when I need help, and I'll give it a couple tries, and then I'll pass it off, right?" And I think to me, and I appreciate that, when you kind of you just check in, right? Like it's like rather than just jumping in and taking over, but then I have to be, for me on the other side, I have to be that exact same way, right? Like I have to be, hey, listen, I'm going to try this, but if it doesn't work, can you help me? And I think we do that fairly regularly, and I think that to me, that's a big thing for me. It's just communicating that, time, and maybe there are times when, again, I don't really feel like taking a swing at something. So, I do appreciate that, but I don't think I've ever sat back and said, "Oh my God!" Like I don't know if we've ever had a discussion around the fact of me saying, let me do stuff. Why don't you let me do anything? Do I do it?
I hope not. No, that has never happened. You've never shown frustration in that way. You've never said, I want to do this, or let me do this, right?
Yeah. Except for cooking. I'm always like, let me cook.
Oh yeah, no, that doesn't happen. Oh, God, no. And that's okay. That's okay. I love to cook. I'm happy to do it. So getting the dishes done would be nice, but I mean, it's funny how you're always busy on the days that the dishes need to be done. It's interesting.
Well, the dishes, it's this thing. It's
Fascinating.
just and I can, if I can get some backup in the comments with this one, please. Dishes are really hard for people with Parkinson's. I mean, I kind of tremble, I shake. I don't want to break dishes. I don't want to.
Yeah, that's not going to work.
More of a mess. No,
break
that
the
won't
dishes. It's okay.
That won't.
Good luck.
Oh my gosh. Hey, we got a question, Carmen. I'm going to bring this question up here because it's for you right off the bat. I think it's kind of really good, and I think it's something that you should see. So the question is from Miss Lori, and she says, my question for Carmen is how she initially felt about Bryce having Parkinson's. Was she hesitant? I'm dating now with this new diagnosis. Oh, Lori, Miss Lori, you're going up the tree here. Okay,
well, Miss Lori. So here's the thing, and I think Bryce can attest to it. So, our story is an interesting story, but I would say, and I can say this with my whole being, is I fell in love with Bryce at first sight, literally at first sight. And so
you had no choice that I had Parkinson's.
So I didn't know. Clearly, obviously, I didn't know because I hadn't met him yet. So when we started talking, and then and he very, very, very quickly, probably, the second time we ever spoke, he said, I have Parkinson's. I think my reaction, I'm going to paraphrase, but I think my reaction was, and So I wasn't hesitant, Miss Lori, because again, it didn't matter. At the end of the day, I had fallen in love with him. It was what it was, and even though our story didn't start then, it started 5 years later. It didn't make any difference to me, and so I guess the answer, it's not going to be easy, but when you find the right person, it won't matter.
This brief interruption is brought to you by no one, no sponsors, no miracle cures. No one paid us to say this. But if someone wants to sponsor us, we are absolutely available. In the meantime, take a deep breath, stretch something, maybe check if it's time for your next pill. And yes, we'll wait. Now back to the show, already in progress, unless Brian forgot to hit record.
And to attest to that as well, I think that one of the things that for me in that moment, because we had one of those moments where, I walked into this restaurant, and there was like a restaurant on the right, and the lounge on the left, and I had actually had that moment from the movies where, I looked over and I saw this woman sitting there, and our eyes like locked, and it was like in the movies is where all of a sudden everything would have been like slow motion and the music would have been playing in the background, Dreamweaver, because it was just that moment when it hit, and I'm like, and I was it was for me. I don't know if I'd ever believed in love at first sight before, but my God, that was just, I couldn't help it, and immediately just kind of beelined right to you, and we ended up just talking and talking and talking and talking all night. And so for me though, the fear that next day was like, oh my God, I have to tell her this, and what's, how's she going to deal with it? And what for me, there's also that question is, when do you tell somebody that you're dating that you have something? And my thing was, I wanted to tell you right away, because I didn't want to risk, well, not risk, but I didn't want to set myself up for heartbreak. I didn't want to fall deeper and deeper and deeper into you, and then I tell you something and you're not into it, and you're done. But I'll tell you this, Miss Lori. At the time, I was 5 years. I was coming up to my 5-year anniversary of my diagnosis, and my doctor had told me at the time that I'd have 5 good years left, and so I fell so hard for her that I didn't want to burden her with me, and so I just disappeared. I just took off. I did what the kids call ghosting, and
For 5 years.
For 5 years, yeah, and for 5 years, and she was, yeah, and so when I reconnected, when we reconnected 5 years later, and what's a funny story about that is it was actually, which we both didn't know, but when we met 5 years later just to check on the situation and see if the feelings were still there for, I knew they were there for me, but I didn't know if they were there for her, because we'd only known each other for a week, or 10 days, I guess. Anyway, what was I saying? Where was I? I got totally lost.
With the day we met.
Oh yeah. It ended up being 5 years to the day that we had actually met for the first time, the exact day. So that was pretty. Thought that was pretty. Incredible. But I'll tell you the one thing, and I brought that up and I told her, and so I'm gonna make you remember this, Carmen. I know you're gonna remember this, but and we didn't plan this. So you said something to me when I tried to explain why I disappeared and what was up with that. You said something to me, and I don't know if you remember exactly what it was. I could lead you if you don't, but do you remember what you said?
Don't make decisions for me.
Wow. Yeah, you looked right at me. You scared the heck out of me, because you looked right at me almost very sternly, and she said, who gives you the right? This is what you said too. So you said it nice, like, hey, don't make decisions for me. This is what you're like, who gives you the right to make decisions for me? And I was like, holy mackerel. I do. I do. And so that really hit it. And I'm like, I tell her to this day, I still tell her she's crazy. Like, what are you, nuts? Like, I've got this progressive disorder that's going to get worse, and like, why would anybody sign up for that? And I still tell her she's crazy.
Well, and you could say that. I guess you know what? You have to do the dance regardless, right? Enjoy your life, do the dance because you'll have regrets otherwise. And I love you, and that's just part of who you are, and we'll figure it out as time goes on. So, but yes, to Miss Laurie's point there, you know what? There's a saying that I'm paraphrasing the saying, but it's like those that matter don't care, and those that care don't matter. So if you tell people, and the right person is going to be okay, and they'll be okay with it, because again, it's not a death sentence. You can still live a full life, and Bryce and I do. I mean, we don't let anything stop us, and you can still live that full life and be active and do things together and still enjoy each other's company and laugh together, and so by all means, you go for it, and you tell people, and there's nothing to be ashamed of by any means. And the person that doesn't want to deal with it is going to leave, and that's okay, because you want them to leave.
Yeah, I don't want
More
anywhere near
power
me.
to you, Miss Laurie, and let us know.
And look at Miss Laurie's picture. She's gorgeous. I mean,
It's
she's
stunning.
beautiful.
She's
She's
stunning.
beautiful. So you know what? You got to keep in touch with us too, Laurie, and let us know how
Yeah.
that love life's going, because we'll peek in and go. But I think to that point, right? People are people. Everybody's got something.
Yeah.
Everybody has a thing, right? And and we're little. How do you like that? Literally, planning our retirement and going and talking about doing things that, I mean, I wouldn't have thought when I ghosted you, which I mean, I can't believe we're bringing this up, because I have to outlive this once in a while. But when I ghosted you, I thought I didn't want to burden you with not being able to do the things that you want to do in later in your life, right? I didn't want to be a burden. I wanted you to retire and go, be a snowbird and go do things that you wanted to do. And I didn't want to be the person holding you back from that. And we're literally, like, this weekend, we're talking about like our retirement plans and what we're going to
Yeah.
do and how that's going to look and where we might go and what might be. And we're talking about all the things that I thought in like 10, that was over 10 years ago now, that I wouldn't be able to do, but yet we're planning them now. So I think that's pretty cool. And check that one out.
Ooh, good luck. Let you fill us in on the date, Miss Laurie.
Yeah, that's exciting. Good for you. I love that. I
I
love
do.
that. I'm all
Well,
about it.
good.
I never thought in my life I'd be single at 50, in my 50s at all, period. And then I never thought I'd be single with a incurable disease. So that, I know there's a lot of fear and trepidation in that. And trust me, and I'll be honest, I went on a couple of dates, previous to that night that Carmen and I met, and I didn't even tell them I had it, because it wasn't even worth it. So I kind of filtered them out first before I even bothered even talking about me, right? Anyway, how do you like that? There you go. All right. So how about this? It's one thing you said though as well, and it kind of rolls into this too, is, is it okay? So one of the other questions that we were talking about, is it okay to laugh when things just go completely off the rails and go sideways? And I think that's one of the big things for us, that I make fun of my Parkinson's. I try to poke fun at it. I laugh at it. I try to do things because I feel like it gives me power over it, right? Like, it doesn't define me. It doesn't control me. I can make fun of it, and I do it. And I give you permission to do the same thing.
Yeah, well, I follow your lead, right? There's certain things you do get frustrated sometimes with yourself, right? And you
Oh yeah.
you get hard on yourself, and especially, I mean, your finger dexterity, right? You struggle with your finger dexterity, and that frustrates you. And um, so I kind of make sure that I have to try to sort of say to you, so what? No big deal. I mean, if it takes 5 minutes longer, it takes 5 minutes longer, or I'll do it if you want me to, right? Depending on your vibe. But yeah, well, I don't want to be insensitive, and I sort of take your lead on that. But yes, we do laugh at some things. I mean, you scare the
You're gonna swear again? Look at my
so,
potty mouth wife.
you
My
scare
potty
me
mouth wife.
when I think you're about to fall, or you trip, or something like that. That kind of stuff scares me, God
Yeah.
forbid, and I don't want you to get hurt, and I won't let you go up a ladder if I'm not home, or that kind of thing. But
I think the
yes.
first time you left me alone in the home, I think I fell down the basement stairs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then it was like I'm not allowed to go down the basement stairs. I'm not allowed to do all the stuff.
Well, no, there's rules. You have to have one free hand so you can hang on to the railing, right?
Oh
So you
yeah,
can't
right.
be
We had that.
carrying a
Yes,
whole bunch of stuff as you go down the stairs, right? So
yes. And,
yeah.
and so to me, that's part of that thumbnail that I made. I'm kind of sitting there with my little toy hammer hitting a thing because I'm like a little kid with all
Yeah.
these new rules. But I mean, they're put in place to protect me and help me. But so and the reality is, and the truth is, when Carmen leaves, I do whatever I want. I just tell her I followed the rules. That's how it works. But I think
I believe that. I believe that. I believe you do that. In fact, I know. So the other thing, you almost fell in the bathtub one time.
Oh, that's
Remember?
right. I forgot about that. I do. Yeah.
So, sometimes, I'm sure with Parkinson's for him, he's soaking in a hot tub helps his achy bones and just his body. So, he had almost fallen one time and I wasn't home. So I'd said, okay, no more baths unless I'm in the house. Right. So, but of course, I went out one time and I come home and I knew he had taken a bath. And it's like, how do you know? Well, because the towel wasn't folded the same way, the shower curtain, it's like I'm a spy. I know how things are. I mean, I think I'm speaking for myself, but most women when they, take care of their home, and I'm going to say women, I don't know if men do this, but I know my girlfriends are the same way. You leave your house a certain way, and when you come back, when something's been moved. Like the shower curtain is a certain way in the bathroom, and if it's moved, I know.
Notes. I'm going to take notes.
So I kind of knew, and the towels folded differently, and so I just knew. And then I said, you took a bath and I wasn't home, and you were like, well, yeah, I needed it. I'm like, okay, well, you know what, you are an adult and you make your own decisions. But I wasn't impressed. I wasn't happy because I worry for you. That's all.
For sure.
But
Absolutely.
I love you. I just worry for you.
Yeah, well, 100%. And I think that's the thing that in that moment. I mean, there's moments where I need to prove to myself that I can still do something. And maybe it's dumb, maybe it's stupid, and maybe I will get hurt. I mean, literally my legs look like they're, it's a permanent bruises, look like tattoos, right? Because I'm just constantly walking into things. That's sort of my thing. I'm continually banging and bumping and hitting myself on things. And part of that humor too, I think, is what, I mean, I can choose, for example, and we're talking about this humor thing, and it's there are moments that can be or should be, or they are so frustrating, right? Like so frustrating, that they're so frustrating that they actually become funny because it's just I can't handle it. It doesn't matter anywhere. And I mean, was it yesterday morning or the morning before? There was something like, and I'm trying to blank, but something happened. It was just crazy time. Like it was.
Oh, yesterday morning? Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Yesterday, I don't know. I think Bryce might have talked about his dreams, his very real dreams.
Yeah.
So in the past, well, yesterday was one of those mornings, and he got up. He got up around 8:30 to use the restroom, and I thought he was up, right? But he came. He's walking back to the bedroom, and just as he's about to get into bed, he says, and very sternly and like forcefully, he says, don't use the phone or don't call or text anyone because they're going to trace us. Okay, promise you won't do that. He gets into bed and he's like, tell Shirley too not to use the phone, not to text anybody. And I was like, okay, I'll make sure I won't use the phone. You promise? I said, promise. And he went back to sleep. But he had just walked to the restroom and came back, and I thought he was waking up, but clearly, and then he slept for another couple hours, but he was also, in that couple hours, he had said a few other things. It was a very, very interesting morning. Yeah, making sure that, not to use the phone because we're being traced. Oh, we had to make sure that the guns were all ready and ready to go in case they come and find us. And oh yeah, yeah. We were full go yesterday.
Who was after us? Do we know? Did we ever
Oh
find
no,
out?
you never told me. That's the frustrating part. It's like I wish you would, because if I ask a question like that, it's kind of like I throw you in a tizzy in your dream. It doesn't fit the narrative that's going on. So if I say, oh, is it Paul? And you'd be like, I don't, who it is. I don't have to tell you. It's so funny. Yeah.
So the big question that everybody wants to know though, did you not call and text people?
I stayed off the phone. I did, because you never know. They're traced. And I told Shirley, whoever
Yeah, what
Shirley,
about Shirley? I was gonna say, and how about Shirley? Whoever
whoever
Shirley is.
Shirley is. Yeah.
Do we?
Yeah.
Do we?
Had
I
to
don't
tell
even think we know
Shirley.
it, Shirley.
Oh
My
God.
gosh.
No, we don't. Yeah, it was funny.
And what's funny about that too is like when I have those moments, like the time when when I think the one story I've told before a lot is the one where we had woken up just the same thing. We're having our morning coffee. And I
Yeah.
think it's one of the first times this ever happened, right? And we're having
Yeah.
our morning coffee. And it's probably 20 minutes in and we're drinking coffee and having a conversation. And we're talking about everything we had to do that day.
Yeah.
And then I said, okay, well, you said we better get going. And I said, okay, great. I said, I'll tell you what, I said, you go get short, or I'll go get Shorty. You put the fire out. I'll go get Shorty and the horses, and we'll
Round
pick
up
you
the
up because we got
horses.
a long ride today. And it was like,
Yeah.
and she was like, what? So
That was one of the first times, you're right. And I was like, whoa, what is happening right now? So yeah. Oh yeah.
wow.
But there's many times, well, in the morning, not that you'll do that. And I'll be saying to you, I need you to wake up, and you're talking to me because I'll give you your meds, or, but your eyes are closed. And for me, it's like you have to open your eyes. And I think that's usually the trigger that makes you sort of more awake, and then it sort of doesn't fit the whatever's going on in your mind. But you will, like the Shirley and the cell phone, that was all with your eyes closed, right? But it's like your eyes like
Oh,
are very
interesting.
expressive, but your eyes are always closed. So it's kind of, but that 20-minute conversation before the Shorty and the horses, yeah, you were wide awake there. That was a whole, yeah,
That's
we
wild.
were talking. Yeah.
Well, and
Oh
it's
yeah.
times like that when we have those moments, I don't
Yeah.
remember any dream that goes with that. Like to
Yeah.
me, we were doing it. It's but there are other times when I wake up and tell you about the dream I had, but I don't have those moments. So it's just this weird thing that I don't understand quite how it works.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think but I give up trying to guess. And I think that's part to it as well. Is I think sometimes we get stuck in trying to guess, okay, what could it be, why did this happen like this, how did this happen here? I mean, we make our notes, we prepare ourselves for our doctor's appointments and stuff, or sorry, I should say, you prepare your notes for your appointment with my movement disorder specialist while
Yeah.
I sit there and
That's
you guys
right.
can have a chat about Bryce. And so I do hear that.
For
So
sure.
but I think that that's the thing, we don't get bogged down in the little stuff, we don't get bogged down in trying to figure out why that happened today and didn't happen yesterday, and trying to change that. We just kind of roll with I guess we just roll with it. I guess that's sort of how we do it, right?
I will say to the care partners out there who do experience that kind of thing, record it, because it's really, really funny to play it back. So I did that with one of his dreams. I recorded the whole conversation, and because he'll say that didn't happen, and it's like, oh no, it did. He doesn't
Oh
believe
yeah.
me, or tries not to believe me. So playing it back is priceless. It's pretty funny. So
Well, and I have no recollection.
yeah,
Of it. Like I just don't know what happened. I mean, I can tell the story about Shorty enough because we've talked about it enough, and you've
yeah,
told me it, but
yeah,
I don't remember it in the time that I did it. So,
yeah.
I mean, that's wild.
Well,
But I mean, how fun is your life, Carmen? Like that.
it's
Your
hilarious.
life is so incredibly fun. I mean, how you wake up in the morning, you don't even know what hell's where
No,
you could be on a mountainside on horses, you could be
right?
flying planes. Like, I mean, wow,
I know. I know.
you're so
Running
lucky.
from authorities, or it probably could be the FBI. We could be the criminals. Who knows? I don't know, but it's fun.
Wow. It's you just never know. You just never,
Yeah.
never know. Okay, so you know what we're gonna do? We want to cut those. There's two other questions we're gonna get to. Is am I doing enough or am I doing too much? Right,
Yeah.
kind of goes with it. And why does it sometimes feel like we're on two different planets? And I think before we get there, and I think Brian would really like this because in honor of Brian, I would like. Actually, I'm not even going to ask you. We're just going to do this. It's time. It's time for your initiation, Carmen.
Is it
Welcome to
shaky baby time?
welcome to Shaky or Fakey, the Care Partner Edition.
My only goal is I have to beat Brian. That's it. That's my goal.
And Brian's sitting there somewhere just losing it because he's so uber competitive. It's quite funny,
I'm going to
but
beat
he's
you, Brian. Yeah.
and you play along with us too, whether you're listening or watching. Play along with us as we go. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to read you a statement, and you tell me if it's shaky, true, or fakey, false, and let's see how much you really know about the Care Partner experience.
Okay.
All right, you ready for this?
Okay, absolutely.
Okay, you're ready. So again, in the comments or in the real chat, you can put shaky, fakey, and we'll play along. Here we go. Number one, shaky or fakey question is this. Most care partners experience high stress levels. Oh, sorry, let me back up. Let me start that again. Most care partners experience higher stress levels than the person with Parkinson's. So most Most care partners experience higher levels of stress than the person with Parkinson's. Is that shaky true or fakey false?
I'm gonna say shaky.
Oh,
I
you do? Yeah.
I'm gonna say shaky. Shaky's true, right?
Shaky's true.
Yeah,
Shaky's true. Fakey's false.
yeah. I do think so. I do think care partners. Yeah, I
Yeah.
do.
All right. Well, guess what? You're correct. You are correct. Miss Lori is correct. Living with
I s-
Parkinson's is correct. You're
I
all
s-
correct.
Yeah, because we have to. I mean, not that your experience with the person with PD isn't an issue. Of course, you're struggling day to day with everything, but we are there with you. Plus, we have to manage all the other stuff, and I think I think that's why.
Well, yeah, it's so it says here, so it's correct. Studies show that care partners often carry a ton of emotional and mental strain, and sometimes even more than the person with PD because they're carrying their strain as well. So that's incredible. I wanted to argue that. I was going to argue that point. I was hoping for another fakie in the comments so the two of us could have a conversation and gang up because it's that's amazing. I mean, and you think about that from a care partner's perspective. Well, that makes me feel almost bad. It almost makes me feel guilty.
Oh, no.
It almost makes me feel like why again that's why I say you're absolutely nuts. Why would anybody sign up for that? Why would you do that? So but I mean, oh, thank God, don't take that. I'm
No.
very thankful that you have, but yeah, and the story said that because they're also worried for loved ones. So so that wants you to give your care partner a big hug, doesn't it? Like that, that's incredible. So thank you for that. So okay, so you're 1 for 1. Just saying, 1 for 1.
Okay.
All right, here we go. All right, and everybody who's put answers in, they're all 1 for 1. So here we go. Question number 2: shaky or fakey? It's best for care partners to always take over tasks to make things easier. It's best for care partners to always take over tasks to make things easier. Is that shaky? True or fakey
Well, I'm
false?
gonna say fakey. I mean, it's not best. I think you need to check in and just decide together what's better. So fakey.
Yeah, and you're fakey and Dolores. Hey, Dolores. Dolores is coming in with a fakey as well. And you are absolutely right. You're nailing this thing. So helping too much, and the studies have shown, yeah, look at you go. All right. And Brian's somewhere right now just going like, I'm 2 for 2 too. I just have no internet. I have no idea. So it says that, helping too much can actually hurt confidence and independence. So balances everything. And I think that goes back to what we were talking in the very beginning. It's sort of like, have that conversation, know it's almost like we could have a safe word, you know.
Is it that kind of podcast? I'm sorry. Did we convert to a different kind of podcast?
We could say we're like it's like a mellow yellow. Can't do it. Mellow
This
yellow.
is
Can't
like
do
the
it.
motion
Mellow yellow.
Parkinson's, correct? Yeah. Okay.
Hey, it's not. No, this is the nighttime bug. No, I'm just anyway. So, uh, all right,
Mellow
all
yellow.
right. Oh, mellow yellow. Okay, and we got fakey, some living Parkinson's story. So it looks like everybody's 2 for 2. I mean,
Oof,
again,
well done.
come on, that was easy one though, wasn't it? No. Okay, here we go. Question number 3. People with Parkinson's don't always realize how much support they're receiving. Oh, people with Parkinson's don't always realize how much support they're actually receiving. Is that
I'm gonna
excuse me?
s- I'm gonna say shaky. I don't think you are. I don't think in the grand scheme of things throughout the day you don't really pick up on that kind of stuff. And I think vice versa. I don't think the care partner realizes how much they do help either. I think it's you just do and you don't realize it. So yes, I'm gonna say shaky. I think that was true, right?
Shaky's true, yeah. So you're thinking, so it's just like you're just
You don't
doing it
realize.
and not thinking about it and not realizing, and me as a person with Parkinson's doesn't. It's just a natural thing. Like I don't
Yeah.
realize how much
Yeah.
effort it's taking. Okay, well, you know what? In the comments, they're saying shaky as well, and I'm going to say that you're 3 for 3, so that's true. And it's and not but clearly though, this says very clearly though, it's true, but not out of ungratefulness.
No,
Just
of course.
it could be fatigue, brain fog, or focus elsewhere. We do appreciate, even if we forget to say so. So I think that we should kind of go out of our way to make sure we say so. So thank you for all you do. Um, well, this one we kind of talked about already, but I think everybody's 3 for 3 right now. Almost, yes. I think everybody's 3 for 3 because these are really tough ones. Question number 4: You should never joke about Parkinson's symptoms with your partner. Fakey or Fakey, you should never joke about
Okay,
Parkinson's
Fakey. We
symptoms.
talked about this one. I think this one's an easy one. Of course, you should. What aren't we if we can't laugh at ourselves, regardless of whether you have Parkinson's or not? So,
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So humor is one of our survival tools, right?
Absolutely.
I believe humor is healing, and but again, and I want to be clear about this too, depending on with our listeners and our watchers, that humor is healing if it's mutual and respectful. Then you bring it on, right? It's not a tease. Like that's a big difference. It's not like a tease, right? We're not teasing. One thing that really bothers me is I think that sometimes people kind of or they say it's humor when it's not. Like in other words, one thing I can say really really clearly is everybody's getting fakey as well. Everybody's coming along for the ride here with you, so everybody's fakey. So one of the things though that bothers me is when I see like a care partner or somebody who, when you're out with people or out with friends, will kind of poke fun at their person for not, you know what I mean? And that's, to me, there's two distinct differences there. So I want to be clear about that. Like that's, if it's mutual and respectful, bring it on. Let's like make jokes. Let's have fun. Let's do our thing. Right.
Yeah, I agree.
Exactly. And that's why I don't know why you don't let me cook more often. Cause I could probably if I don't take my meds, I could make the best scrambled eggs ever. Right. Just let her rip.
No, but then I'd be cleaning egg off the wall, I think, so.
Well, yeah, because see, when you cook, I clean. So when I cook, you
No,
clean,
you
right?
don't. Oh my God, are we back in your dream? Did you fall asleep, sweetheart? Are we hallucinating again? What?
Oh my
What
God.
was that?
You are the best cooker and the best cleaner. So I just let you do your thing. And I know you love to do it. So,
Not
all
cleaning.
right.
I love cooking.
I know, I'm teasing. And you're a wonderful cook. Okay, question number 5. One of the best things a care partner can do is take care of their own health. Would that be shaky true or fakey false?
That's absolutely true. Shaky.
Absolutely 100% true. You cannot pour from an empty cup. And I think that is so important. And I think that, I know it's a simplistic question, but I think it's in there. And I wanted to leave it in there because I think that's one thing that, as care partners, because being a care partner, you're cut from a special cloth. And I think that you're very giving people. And I think sometimes you don't realize that you give so much, but you don't take that time on your own just to recharge and refresh. And I always say it like this, like when you're on an airplane and it starts to go crazy and the masks fall from the top, and they always say to make sure you put your own mask on before you try to help somebody else. And that's because, like, in that situation, if you jump to help somebody else and you're not helping yourself first, you're going to run out of oxygen and you won't be able to do it. So I think it's super important for care partners to realize that, and even for somebody to point out, like, there's times they'll say, hey honey, it's time to take a break. Like, don't wait on me today, or don't do that today, because you need to do that for you and you need that time. So I think it's really important. So you know what, baby, you went 5 for 5.
Look at me. Did I beat Brian? That's my only goal.
Brian today only got 3 for 5. So you kicked his butt.
Yay,
You kicked his butt. And guess what? And you win a Life and Motion coffee cup. So we're going to have to get that coffee cup out to you. So there you go. That's amazing. But and thanks for playing along with us as well. I think it's awesome. And scrambled eggs. Oh, look at this one. I like this here. Look at that one.
Scrambled eggs. Super Ella Peter.
Peter Hooper. All right, scramble them up. Let's do this. I think that's amazing. And listen, we actually want, and I want somebody, somebody, in the description below, you're going to see a link that's a link to come and join us on the show for Shaky or Fakey. I want somebody to come on for the next taping, and if you can, just go there, give us your name and your email so we get a hold of you, and we'll bring you on. I want someone to bring Brian live. To me, it's like the funnest thing ever, because it was like, I'm telling you, he's the sweetest guy, but boy, is he competitive! Holy moly!
I know. That's why I want to beat him.
Right. Okay. So, okay, we'll have to bring you back on and have one off with him too. All right. So, yeah, anyway, anybody in the description below, please go down there, fill it out, and just let us know. Let us know you want to be part of Shaky and Fakey, and you can come on and win yourself a mug. So it's pretty cool. So you crushed it. You're officially a Shaky or Fakey champion. And so I want to dive back into those two other questions though, and I want to segue in, and then and because I think it's really important, and I'm trying to find them. Here we go. One of the other questions we discussed was, am I doing enough or am I doing too much? And
Me or you?
this is a you thing.
Yeah, that am I doing enough or am I doing too much? I don't know. Am I? I ask myself all the time. That's a daily it's a daily question. I don't think that, that you ever really know if you're doing enough or too much. I think you sort of have to feel it. I have to go I have to go off the vibe you're giving for the day, right? Because you may be having a harder day than others, right? So I don't know that there's a definitive answer one way or the other. I think it's a day by day, moment by moment.
Well, I think you'd rather be doing too much than not enough, wouldn't you?
Me personally, absolutely.
Yeah.
If I had the
Yeah.
choice, yes, I'd rather.
I
I
mean,
want to take it all on my shoulders, and then I feel better.
what we're saying is just go for it. Go way overboard with me. Let's start today. As soon as we're done today, just
Okay.
just hand, weight on me hand and foot. Go
Okay.
way overboard. Because you'd rather, err on the side of being too much. But I
Yeah.
I think it comes back down to communication with that as well, because I think, we know as well, because I mean, the things that we do, there's a lot of things we do together, if that makes sense. So in other words, we
Yeah.
time our meds together, we time my meds together.
We
We
do.
do that as well. And there's certain things that happen. But I think that, when you think of the side of doing too much, I see that, I understand that, I see how that could be something that could bother you. But when you think about doing enough, not doing enough, the reality is, baby, one of the reality is that as a care partner, I mean, you're there, you're here, and I think that more than anything, that's enough. And from anybody who has has a care partner, or um, could relate to that. Like, you're here. I tell you you're nuts. I tell you you're crazy. I tell you you shouldn't be here. I tell you, like, who would sign up for this, and yet you signed up and you're here. And so I don't think there's any, you as a care partner should ever feel that there's, am I doing enough? Because you're doing more than a lot of people would do just by being present.
I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. So, and the one thing as a care partner I want to say to you is you're not in this alone. I mean, you're the person with the Parkinson's, but we're living it together and we're going to get through it together. So that's just it.
And truly, we take that on like that, don't we? It's just
Yeah.
something that, and I think that's the one thing as a person with Parkinson's has to realize, is that, it's not a singular diagnosis, right? You're diagnosed, and people that are in your lives have to deal with it as well, right? They may not feel it, but they have to deal with the exact same things, from the stigma to whatever, I always wonder, like, did anything ever cross your mind? Like, even when you thought about, I mean, I know I was incredibly handsome. I know my personality was off the chain. I know that I was
Amazing.
debonair. I know I was well dressed.
Oh,
I mean, I looked fantastic. I mean,
amazing.
I get all that. I get that.
Yeah, it's a true story.
but, but when you were ever, contemplating,
Thank God you're humble. I don't know what we would do if you weren't.
and I really am. I'm teasing.
I know, he's teasing. I know. You are.
People think, "Oh, that's the most arrogant guy." No, I'm just very. I joke,
I
but
know.
but having said that, was there ever times you ever thought, though? Come on, let's be honest. Like, let's dig down here. Was there ever times you lay there and it's like, okay, how am I going to react if we go to a restaurant, and I'm not, maybe 10 years from now, and everybody's staring at us because he's taken out of control, walking weird. You've had to have that moment at least once.
I actually haven't. I've not thought of that because it doesn't matter. I mean, I think we'll figure it out. If it ever happens and everybody's staring, I really don't give a poop.
You can
uh,
swear.
sorry.
You can swear, baby.
I honestly, I'm 56 years old, and the biggest lesson I have learned, I think, in my 56 years is to really not give a hoot what anybody else around me thinks about the decisions I make and the things that I do and where I go, what I wear, what I look like, etc. That stuff I impose on myself. So I've come to that realization. So quite frankly, it has not crossed my mind about someday maybe people staring at us. I think my thought will be, well, if they think we're hot and that's why they're looking. I don't really, what other people think and do and say does not impact me today. So I don't see it having an impact in the future if that were to happen. So I honestly have never thought that, to be honest. That's a
Yeah.
true statement. Never
Really?
crossed my mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. I like this. So I get to kind of like ask you the stuff that I've been thinking deep down that I don't know the answers to, but
Well, you can always ask me.
that's good. And if anybody, if you're here live with us right now, if you have a question for myself or Carmen, please go ahead. Maybe we can take a few minutes at the end here to answer some questions. So feel free if you want to. But I guess part of that too. How about this? Did you ever have a friend or family member kind of say, "Hey, are you sure?" Like even like when you get married.
Not because of your Parkinson's, but because of the ghosting thing.
Okay. Well, we don't have to get
So
into that again. My gosh.
no,
No,
and
but
so no, but as far as the Parkinson's, um, no, I think my family and my friends instantly saw our connection. That it was never I guess the Parkinson's didn't even come into play. It just is.
it just
It
is.
just is, and we'll figure it out. Yeah,
So
that's
everybody, what would have happened if someone did? What if you had a friend or relative or friend, even let's say we're going to get married, and they're kind of they'd sit there and go like, okay, so he has like you realize this? Are you sure? Like, is that the future for you? Like, you don't have to do it if you know what I mean. What would you like? What would you have said to them?
I probably would have said, well, it's my life to live, and I'm living it the way I want to, and I'm happy. And
Wow.
there's no further discussion. I don't know. No, I mean, I think that's what I would say because it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, I fell in love with you, and just like you fell in love with me and all my quirks and all my idiosyncrasies, and
Potty mouth. Your potty
and
mouth.
my potty mouth, and you have to put up with me. So, I mean, it goes both ways. I mean, obviously, I don't have a neurological disorder, and I'm not trying to make light of that. But I mean, I could throw it back at you. If I did, would you walk away? You know?
Yes.
No, you wouldn't.
I'm just teasing.
I know you are.
No, of course not. I mean, that's the thing.
No.
Well, I mean, we'd be quite the pair, both with the neurological disorders. I mean,
would
oh
we
my
be
word,
though?
right? Holy mackerel. We'd
Yeah.
have to hire somebody named Amy to take care of us. So, what about okay? So, and then the last question we'll get to, is like, why does it sometimes feel like we're on two different planets? And I think
I think we are.
yeah, we are. Do you think so?
Yeah, we are. And that's okay though, right? We have to navigate from different perspectives.
That's true. That's
Yeah.
very true. Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's totally true. I think some of the biggest time, I think where some of the issue, if there's ever an issue, and I don't think we ever had an issue or have issues, but I think one of that would be where if we look at some of those questions that we talked about, like again being on a different planet, because it'd be there's some things that you'll be talking about. I'm like, oh my gosh, does she not realize that I have this? Like I'll be sitting there going, she's forgetting, I can't do that. And you're kind of like going like no, it's all good. You're doing this. It's regardless, right? So that's where I could almost feel like sometimes we're on a different planet. But I think that that when we talk about being on a different planet, it's almost going to be in that same thing where if we don't communicate properly and we don't communicate well, that's where some of those other questions, you could be sitting here one day saying, I don't think I'm doing enough. I don't think I'm doing enough. I don't think I'm doing enough. Right. Because I'm not acknowledging it. I'm not noticing it. I'm not focusing on it. Right. And you're going, mustn't be doing enough because he's not thankful for it or whatever. And I could be sitting here kind of going like, gosh, he doesn't let me do anything, doesn't let me do anything, doesn't let me do anything. So, I mean, this is just marriage 101 or communications, relationships 101 is just being completely honest at all times with each other. And if you see or feel something, you just say it.
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
I'll say it like, "Hey, hon, let me do this one. Like, I'm good. Let me try this one. It's all good." And it's like, "Okay, no problem." And I know where that's coming from and I know what it is. I don't know. Maybe that's
Yeah.
age. I don't know if it's so here's the thing. I kind of feel like my second stage, my second chapter of life was like, so what you just said about not caring what people think, I was the exact opposite for 90% of my life. I was, I I I cared what people thought. I didn't want them to think. I wanted everybody to love me. I wanted everybody to like me. I wanted everybody to, I wanted to never let anybody down. I didn't, I wanted to be, it was just always be liked. And so I think, when I got Parkinson's, though, it was sort of like it took after I came through this 5 years of trying to figure this whole thing out, kind of my aha moments with this, and that was my aha. I'm calling her. I'm getting a hold of this woman that I fell in love with because haven't stopped thinking about her, and I'm still okay today. But I think that aha moment was like, I have Parkinson's, so what else? Like, what do I have to lose? What else matters? I want to live my life to the fullest I possibly can, and now I don't care. I don't care. I think about that, and I've talked about, Brian. If Brian was here, he'd start crying now when I say this. But he talked about walking his kids down, their daughters down the aisle, and that was one of the first things. As weird as that is, that it was for me too. I'd like, oh my god, am I going to be able to walk down the aisle? And then I realized, okay, yeah, I am, but it's going to look awful. Like, who cares? Like, oh my god, that's not appropriate for a wedding. Like, this in my head, right? That's not appropriate for a wedding. I'm going to be like, oh, walking down the aisle, all flippy dappy. And then to the point now where it's like, then it's like when I finally came to grips with this thing, it was like, I don't care if I crawl, like I don't care how, I don't care if I roll. Right, I'm walking my daughter down the aisle. No one's going to stop me, and I'm not going to be worried about it. So I think that's a massive mind switch to where we go with things. It's crazy. It's
Yeah, and
crazy.
so, like, don't get me wrong, I didn't feel this way in my younger years. You get to a stage in life and, where it doesn't matter. But of course, even me, I was vain and worried about other people's thinking and, I have an Italian background, so there's always that, that you grow up with, well, what are people going to say? What are they going to think? What are they going to say? You grow up with that in your head. So clearly I did too, but then you reach a certain point in life where um and you just think, I have one life to live and I'm going to live it, the best way I can, the happiest way I can, and do the things with the people that I love and spend time with. And that's all that matters. And if other people don't like the way it looks or the way it acts or the way it behaves, I mean, that's on them, right?
Yeah,
That's not my problem.
yeah, and and the bottom of the truth is, we don't have it all figured out. I mean,
Of course not.
right? There's no book, there's no manual that you can
No.
really follow, right? So it's sort of like we take one day at a time, right? We take one day at a time. We deal with what's going on that day, and then we get ready for the next
And
full
I and
adventure.
I and I think you hit it. The biggest, most important thing is keeping the lines of communication open between each other and being honest with each other in the moment, whatever it is, good or bad or different. But that's the key, right? As a care partner, listening to you, hearing you is so crucial. And just making sure I know where you're at and just being respectful of that for the day because it's different.
Yeah, and you know what? That's so true, and I think that's a big lesson out there for everybody, right? So it's you ever did your parents ever say to you, well, when you get older, you like they'll tell you to do something and you're like, no, 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 I'm not gonna do it. Well, you'll understand when you're older. It's like, and so it's the same thing with that, whether it's age, whether it's
Yeah.
what you're going through. It's like, damn, I wish I would have lived the way I'm living today,
Yeah.
when I was in my 20s and my 30s,
I
right?
know. It's so true. You waste so much time in those years just yeah, wasting so much time worrying about all of that. And it's so you hit a certain point in life and it's so unimportant. It just you realize in that moment it's so irrelevant, right? So,
It
yes,
means nothing. It means absolutely nothing. So
nothing.
and that's powerful, right? That is so powerful because when you can truly live that way, that's true freedom. That's really living with freedom. And so, if you're out there with Parkinson's, you're watching this or listening, and you're at that stigma stage where you're still worried, oh God, what's this going to look like? Or oh gosh, and even dating. To Miss Lori's point, you know what? Go loud
Yeah,
and proud. You go loud and proud.
absolutely.
This is me, right? Like the people that the right people that you want in your life really don't give a crap whether you have it or not. And that's whether it be a boyfriend, a girlfriend, a husband, a wife, whether it be a mother, father, son, whatever it might be. They don't care. They don't, as a matter of fact, sometimes they don't care enough that I have to keep reminding them that that I have it. I'm like, hey, remember me. But I think that's the whole key. It's like, don't be ashamed of what it is. I mean, they're hiding something probably deeper than you are anyway. But I know it's a tough life to navigate. So, but just take that from that stigma standpoint. It really doesn't matter what people think or say. You just have to be you, and you have to live your life, and you have to live it to the fullest. And if you have a special walk when you walk on Parkinson's Canada, we did a whole campaign on this. It wasn't like it was like your swagger, right? Like it's like there's your walk. Hey, it's my swagger. It defines me. It not defines me in the right way, but it's who I am, and it's cool, man. We can make it cool. We don't have to make it a bad thing, right? Like, what shaking can, especially in certain areas of life. And here comes the midnight show again. Maybe there's some benefits to it. Some nighttime, who knows? I mean, there's different things. I used to joke with if I had a kid right now, I wouldn't have to shake up the, I don't know, the formula, all the formula. Like I would just sit there and it would just shake away all on its own. I make a joke and I used to pour my daughter a big glass of milk, and she's like, I don't want milk, and I'm like, it's not, it's a milkshake, so I'd give her the milk, so it's like,
I don't know what changing diapers would have looked like though. That would have been a whole new experience. Oh.
I'll tell you what. If you ever changing diapers without Parkinson's, I used to wear a drywall mask because I'd be gagging. It was an awful experience for me to begin with. So to change without it, you would have to bathe me after. I know you so well. You'd be like, you're never changing a diaper again because it's just more work, right? It's way more work. It's way more work. Oh my gosh, and this was so much fun. Thank you for joining me. I hope, wherever you're watching or listening, I hope that something resonated with you. If you're care partners out there, thank you for all you do for us. And let's, if you're a person with Parkinson's, go give your care partner a hug and just give them a thank you for all they're doing. And again, we need someone for Shaky or Fakey. So come on now. Get in the description, click that link, and come on in. And this week, hey, guess what, Carmen? I'm busy on Wednesday evening, just so you know. We have a Inner Circle community. We've built a community now, and you want to be a part of that. We're doing a live meeting,
nice.
chit chat. That's almost like a support group, and I'd want you to be there. So come join me. And the Inner Circle, there's a link in the description below. Just join up. There's a whole community there. You can post and talk to each other and everything else. It's a private community, and I'd love you to be there. So this Wednesday we're having just a private, kind of like, it's like a support group. It's sort of just check in, see how everybody's doing, and kind of get to know everybody better. So I appreciate every one of you, every single one of you. Thank you for what you're doing. Whatever you're doing and however you do it, I want you to remember a couple things. Now I'm losing my thing right now. Anyway, I want you to stay strong. I want you to stay kind, and I want you to stay in motion. You go out there and you have an amazing week. Thanks. We'll talk to you guys.
You did it. You made it through another episode of Life in Motion. That's 20 to 30 minutes you could have spent folding laundry, Googling your symptoms, or rearranging the 14 pill bottles on your nightstand. Instead, you hung out with Bryce and Brian. That's friendship. Or questionable time management. Either way, we're grateful. Be sure to follow the show, leave a review, or just yell, "I have Parkinson's and I'm fabulous," into your backyard. We'll hear you. Probably. New episodes drop regularly, unless we both forget. Until next time, keep laughing, keep shaking things up, and if you find our train of thought, please return it.